Hello and welcome to the 129th episode of the Gochuucast. And today we have a few things, some of which some of us are excited to talk about, I think, allegedly.
Well, first of all,
It's
we have all
hard.
three of us.
Yeah.
We have all three of us
Yes,
Yeah,
we,
it's
for the
been
we
a
first
do have
time
couple
all
with the
weeks,
three.
hasn't it?
I think it has
Yeah.
been a couple. I think because Bat was gone and then PK was gone, and now
Yep.
Yeah.
the gang's all back.
One of us got a real job, and the other one got drunk.
Yeah, your experience your experience sounds more fun than mine. Mine was it's just moving. It's been so hectic, but yeah,
Yeah, I heard you live in a cornfield now, so
something like that. Yeah,
We're in the
something
middle
like
of a
that.
cornfield. No
Yeah,
home or anything.
am I the one
yeah,
who's excited to talk about something?
I
I'm
am. I
pretty
am.
excited to talk about what
I'm
I've got.
excited to talk about something. The problem is, all right, I'll start.
Go ahead.
Um, we can talk about some things with it. So, uh, airing this season, Dan Machi season 5. That's right. For all the fans here who met Daniel through the Dan Machi video, Dan Machi's back, and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, dude.
Um, season 5's been really good, and I caved and I read a volume and a half, probably like, if I had to guess, like 10 episodes of what'll be the eventual 15 episodes for this season. Just to like throw a guess out there. It's
Yes.
the volume 18 is chunky. So I'm like, I can see them getting to volume 18 within the next 2 or 3 episodes, probably.
Yeah, when you said
I
you
haven't
did,
watched the newest episode, but
this is I don't know why my brain didn't remember that you did this, but yeah, you did read Don Manchi. For some reason, I was thinking it was the mystery dungeon shit. Like for some reason, because I saw you mention that you finished some part
so
of it.
I've had the mystery dungeon shit finished for a while. The problem is coders. But it's
Right.
also not really a podcast topic because the mystery dungeon. So, for anyone who doesn't know, um, I am helping make a little Pokemon mystery dungeon
Oh yeah, I remember this.
hack
Yeah,
for our
yeah.
friend group, and it's like it's fun. And I wrote like a really good story for it, and it's like ready to be made. We just have to get like coding done to make it and stuff like that. I'm trying to get a demo for the boys by the new year, but that's starting to look bleak.
Mm.
Um, but it's hard to talk about that on the podcast because it's almost like an extended inside joke, right?
Right.
Like I think it would be a good standalone game still, but if you don't know our like friend group, it's also hard to like understand some of the things that are going to be happening
Yeah, that's why what you
or like
said made.
why they're funny.
That's why Don Manchi makes more sense. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, it'd be very random to bring this up, but I don't remember anything else he's done. But then you said Don
Yeah,
Manchi, I'm like, oh yeah.
I the beginning of season 5 was so good that I decided I would read. Just something in return, I did make the promise when I finish Danmachi Volume 18, because I'm probably not going to read 19. I mean, I might read 19, depending on momentum, but there's only the one more volume after that, and it's the next arc. It's like I don't
Yeah.
have to. But whenever I've put down Danmachi, I will get back to reading 86. Is the trade off because I'm like, well, if I'm gonna keep saying I don't have time to read 86 and then read a volume and a half of Danmachi in a week, then clearly I have no excuses. So I will get back to 86. However, Danmachi season 5 has been really good. I can't really talk about the non-anime stuff. Well, I could, but Daniel hasn't read it either.
Yeah, I
So, and
would have
especially,
been fine with purchasing it. Maybe it's like one thing that I'll like e-read or something. I just the title just doesn't fit on the shelf if you know what I mean.
I am e-reading it for what it's worth, but that's because I don't like physically have a shelf right now. And also, it's not like I'm collecting the whole series. I mean, maybe if I decide it's my goat, I would, but I just wanted to read 17 and 18
Yeah, if the title
because I
wasn't as
was
goofy as it was, I'd collect it. But
yeah, I think that's valid.
I just don't need people
But
to see it. But
season 5's been really good. Spat, you've seen none of it, right?
No, I haven't seen any.
So it's fantasyanime.exe.
native
Think-
isekai.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Native isekai. It feels super native isekai, like in the way that you think of that. In the sense that it feels like it could be an isekai, but it's
right.
not.
Yeah, it's
Sounds like fantasy to me.
kind of like an RPG world.
Okay, okay.
But
Yeah, they have like levels
there's
and stats and
yeah, but I guess like the main mythology of the world, a lot of it revolves around like different mythologies. So
yep.
there's like a bunch of gods and goddesses, and all these gods and goddesses have what they call familias, which are basically like their clans, and
Like
they
if
all
I'm
go
the
dungeon
god of
hunting.
corn and you move to Iowa and I'm like, come join my familia, you will be blessed by corn. Then you join my familia and you are now a
Here you go.
follower of the god of corn. There's a canon event now that you've moved.
There you go. Actually,
Yeah.
there's like, yeah. No, go ahead.
The title is way too goofy for the series is still goofy, but it's like such a bait title because the whole like picking up girls in the dungeon bit
Yeah, the title
doesn't even
always like made me
last.
like. It's just strange.
It doesn't even
But
last an episode.
yeah, okay.
He goes into the dungeon, basically frame one, and this little cinnamon roll protagonist just falls in love. And it's like, all right, we're not picking up girls in the dungeon. We're picking up fucking feelings.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Um,
It starts off very like I don't know what the novels are like, but at least in the anime, it comes off very generic yet charming in a sense, I guess.
yes.
For like 2 seasons, and then I think that's in my video I said this like season 3 is where I like really actually started to get invested. In season
I
4
think
just
like a lot
incredible.
of like so mythologies are obviously something that's like always kind of fun and easy to absorb for people. I think like kind of gamifying it with the levels and everything, it makes it's not unique, but it does like a lot of those things that just kind of like scratch that normal fantasy itch.
Mhm.
Now, speaking of season 2, season 1 was quite good. Season 2 was pretty rough. For anyone who hasn't seen it is considering it, it gets very good after after season 2. So season 3 on are all very good. Season 2 is rough. I've been told season 2 is not a bad read,
Yeah, I think
but
like
the
I've
anime's
seen
tough.
all over the place that like that area of the adaptation is like extremely poorly done. So
Yeah.
which I believe because I know that
And
there's like
in
a lot
fact,
missing.
I had a while ago dropped the series after season 2 because I was like, yeah, no, this isn't it. I later picked it back up around when season 4 was coming out, and people were like, no, 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 this shit's gas. I was like, fine. I liked the main character the whole time. I like his little like dagger weapon he has. I just love daggers as a weapon.
Mhm.
So it was like it had some of just like the things that appealed to me. I love like mythologies and stuff. I like gamifying stats. It was just season 2 is rough. Season 3 was great. Season 4 was great. Season 5 has been very good so far. Obviously, we're 6 episodes in now. I have not seen episode 6. I've only seen up to 5. It's kind of in setup phase for season 5 at the moment, but we're like getting to the end of setup phase.
Yeah.
But it's good. And season 5 is good enough that I decided I just want to go read season 5. I did reread the content of the beginning of season 5 for not everything. I didn't read volume 16, which I think is technically where it starts. So I think the first episode or two I didn't reread, but I
I
think from
guess
like the Goddess Festival on.
yeah.
That's what I did. Read a
Nice.
volume and a half of Danmachi.
I
Wasn't
gotcha.
exactly expecting to do that anytime soon, but it's good. I've been liking it.
All right, very epic. So earlier today, so about a month ago, I did something stupid. I went to the
Whoa.
wrong movie theater when wanting to watch Look Back, and
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
know how long it would be until I got the chance to watch it, but I didn't have to wait very long because it came to streaming. I think either Wednesday or yesterday at the time of
Did it
recording
really?
this. Yes, so it's on Prime Video, and I have that. Not that
I also have that.
not
Did
that
you?
I needed it, but I have it. So, but yeah, I watched that earlier today, and I deprived myself of a quality theater experience by going to the wrong fucking movie theater, because I can only imagine how incredible this would have been on the big screen. Um, yeah, shit slapped. Like,
Okay.
so it's difficult to really describe the movie because it doesn't have like a straight story per se. It's almost like a I don't really know how to put it into
Yeah, the
words.
description's not like the description sounds good, but it's not like super descriptive.
Yeah,
It's
I think
a
if I
couple
had
sentences.
to put it into words as a description rather than a story, the basic theme is like falling in and out of like passion, I guess, would be it. So in this case, it would be like drawing for our main protagonist. Um, they start off like um, in their fourth grade school newspaper, or whatever. She would draw little manga strips, and then one day, someone who is like enrolled at their school but doesn't actually like attend classes and stuff, um, wanted to like put something in the school newspaper, like so they kind of like split the strips. One person got four, the other person got four. And so whenever this person who doesn't show up to class put their stuff in, our main protagonist is like, yeah, whatever. Like, isn't it like a bad idea to like let an amateur put their stuff in because
Mhm.
she's like hyped up by everybody, but this girl's drawings, uh, who they don't know, like they're extremely good.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, but they're only of like backgrounds, I guess. So I mean, they're both good at different things. But when she sees like how much better the other girls' like drawings are on like a fundamental level, the main character starts to get invested. Um, and kind of shows like when you get like hyper fixated on something, like you kind of push a lot of other things away. So it gets into that and like some of the demotivation that might come from that. And she quits drawing, and then she gets back. Like there's a lot that goes into it. I
Mhm.
think people who create would probably get the most out of this.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like an extremely creative movie. The OST is it's absolutely incredible. Like anytime
Damn.
the music does come on, like you're wrapped in by it. And then the animation is like actually next level. Like
You're selling me on this. I mean, I've got some time this
yeah,
weekend. Maybe I'll.
it's only like 50 minutes.
The
Okay.
sound
Yeah.
director for this has done a ton of stuff.
The director, so
The
the
sound director
oh,
specifically.
the sound
But
director.
so the director I looked at and I laughed because I saw that he's also the character designer for the fucking Seven Deadly Sins golf. It's not Seven Deadly
What?
Sins, but it's from the author of Seven Deadly Sins. It's got the exact same art style.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the
Um,
director for this is like actually like a straight up crackhead. This dude, to finish this movie on time, lived inside of the production studio for 2.5 months.
Holy.
Yeah,
that's
like
like
Bro's dedicated.
you'll I mean you see, I mean, the dedication comes through the screen. Like there's
That's
not like a pixel on the screen that is not hand drawn. Uh, I would have to. There's. I'm sure
he
I could
did a
find a
lot of
clip.
stuff. He's credited for a fuck ton of stuff on this. Just the director obviously, character design, script, storyboarder, key animation.
Yeah,
And it's like
Alright.
production. Like, it kind of looks like he had his hands in a lot of stuff. And I mean, some of those things do go hand in hand sometimes, but it's still not exactly normal to have someone credited for 7 different jobs.
Yeah, so I'll link a clip. This is very spoiler free. But this is like a taste of. I mean, this is one of the better animated scenes, but like this is kind of like the baseline of what you're getting. Like it's
Uh-huh.
just all uh extremely well done. Like the way the character acting, the it's like a very rough art style, but it works for what it
Yeah.
is like
I
kind
like
of
the
how I would put
camera,
it. Yeah, no, the pan
like the
down is like
angles.
incredible.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I love
this.
animation like this because it's still like, as someone who has a background in like live action film, it's fun to see animation like this that's like still kind of treating the scene as if there's a camera, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't quite get that.
Yeah. Like the art style looks kind of like, I don't want to say old, maybe old fashioned is the right. It's like it kind of has that old charm to it, but like the way, yeah, the camera and like I don't know, some of the decisions with like how the characters are moving and like the environment feels like very like modern or like skillful or something. Like it is a good mix of both. I like it actually. I really like the yeah, I mean the camera just number one that stands out to me, like the panning down and like the scene where it's like underneath her and like she's like hitting the water with her hand and stuff like that. Like it looks yeah, it actually looks really good. I like it.
Yeah, I guess like Fujimoto's one shots, which is one of this is based off one of those. Like there, a lot of them are like I think inherently like cinematic, if you can even describe it that way. I
Yeah.
guess like through the manga panels, like that's like something he gets a lot of praise for is like finding a way to kind of invoke the cinematic feel even through paneling. Um, I think that shows a lot through like this film. It's a very simple film, but it's like very effective. It is, yeah. If you've ever like created something, or just like if you ever had like a passion that you've fallen in and out of love with, then like it's definitely something to look for. Uh, I think it's just a great watch overall.
I'll check it out this weekend. I have a lot of time actually, so 15 minutes doesn't seem like too big of a commitment. So yeah.
Yep. So that's what I did. I caught up on some other things, but
Yeah. I guess I'll say a couple things I did. Well, number one, wait, Daniel, have you caught up on Dandadan at all?
no, no, I haven't.
Okay. PK, I saw you watched episodes 1 through 5, right?
I have, in fact, seen episodes 1 through 5.
How have you liked it so far?
This is a tough question. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think I'm at a point where I can confidently say whether I think it's good or not.
Yeah, okay.
But I enjoy it. And there
Yeah,
is something to be, and we've talked about this several times. There's something to be said for something that I just like tune in on because I think it's fun,
yeah.
right?
It's it's entertainment at the end of the day, right? Yeah. I was gonna say that like I don't know why I like this show so much, but I do. Like it's just like this is weird because I usually hate like shows that are like zany or like they have like too many like random like things happening. Like I mean this joke has a lot I mean this anime has like a lot of like I don't know weird like innuendos and like weird
They're
things
not even
happening.
innuendos.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
literally just talking about
Yeah, actually,
balls.
you're right. Yeah, it's like not. Yeah, it's because it's not implied, right? Like they're just like talking about like genitalia or whatever. Um, but like they like a lot of weird stuff happens like in the show.
Hmm.
Like that is like indisputable, right? And like I usually don't like shows or like media that's like very random and has like a bunch of like weird stuff happening. Like I think I mentioned this before, but like the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, like everybody loves that movie. I hated it. I thought it like a like a middle schooler made it. Like I thought it was just I hated that movie. Um, but like Dandadan, I don't know why, but it's so entertaining. Maybe it's because it's a cartoon. Maybe it's because the material itself is just different, and for some reason it resonated with me. But like I don't know why. I just like it's
I
so
think
entertaining. Like
something,
I can't explain it.
yeah,
I just cannot explain it. But it's just like it's so entertaining.
something I will contribute to my thoughts on the show. Um, the two main characters are very good
Yeah,
and very fun,
that's
and I
probably
think
it. Yeah.
that's like a big part of it, right? Is
Yeah.
when you have strong main characters, if they're not like strong in the sense of like in within the scope of the show, just like strongly defined characters that really like
Mhm.
stay within their roles and act like real
Well designed.
interesting
Yeah.
people, well designed. Like I think that's probably the thing that carries the show a little bit for me is I just
Mhm.
really like the two main characters.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably a big contributing factor. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just like when I was watching I think I stopped at episode like 3. Yeah, 3 the last time we met, or at least like when Daniel and I were talking. I think I was at episode 3, and then I watched 4 and 5, and then I watched 6 earlier today. Like, oh my gosh. I just like I don't know why, but I couldn't erase like the smile on my face. Like it was just like it was so entertaining for like absolutely no reason. So anyway, that was like the biggest thing from this week that I was just like really, really pleasantly surprised, or I don't know. Um that I really took away was like how much I enjoyed Dun Da Dun, and like I'm happy about it because it wasn't a show that I was expecting to like really, really like. Like the art style is kind of it's cool, but it's like a little bit out there, and then just like not a story that I thought was particularly compelling looking at the description, but I'm glad I really enjoy it. It's definitely a show that yeah, I just really like so far. So I'm excited. Excited to keep watching. And I'm hoping to hear some when Daniel catches up when, you know, to hear his thoughts on it
It's
because
hard because I feel like
yeah.
I feel like I'm just
I'm
gonna
not.
end up being PK in this situation where I'm like, yeah, I like it, but I need more.
Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
can't. Knowing what I've seen and knowing just generally how the series go,
Mhm.
I can't see Daniel like watching this and being like, "Yeah, this is the goat" or anything like that.
Yeah.
I can see me being like that if the characters just keep being good, and I'm like, I don't care that there's no plot.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't think it can be the GOAT or like whatever, but like or like I agree that there's probably something missing that's gonna make it like gonna prevent it from being like an all-time classic or whatever. But like I don't know, I just think it's like so entertaining for like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just love it.
I just think that that thing that's missing is something that's generally really important to Daniel specifically. Is
Yeah, yeah.
all
Okay.
I'm saying.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how
Yeah, I mean, I like good fun. I mean, there's
Mhm.
nothing like I mean, just looking at my favorites list, like it's a mix. It's a mixed bag. Like I've got the classic type of stories in there with dynamic characters, compelling stories, and then I got girls make coffee, Beaufort, shit
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Um, so not to say that I can't like Dun 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 or I won't, uh, or I won't be really into it, but it probably won't be one of those things I look at and I'm like, yeah, this is like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 type of thing.
Yes, and that's
Yeah.
my thought. Is I think when you catch up, you'll enjoy it, but you'll be like you said, probably about where I'm at, where it's like there are some strong things it does, but it's missing a few things for me to get it in like upper echelon.
Yeah. Speaking of upper echelon, I did catch up with ReZero. I watched the most recent episode today, so that's been good. I liked it. Um
I am 2 episodes behind
oh,
because
okay.
my group
Yeah.
watch was not able to meet last week.
Classic.
Classic.
We're trying. There's a European in the group. There's a
Yeah.
third shifter. There's a second shifter.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Yeah.
doing what we can. Honestly, we're not doing too bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're
I
much
was
further
half
along than a lot of
expecting.
your other group watches.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was half expecting us to never actually be able to watch it. We've actually managed to get multiple group watches in.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
good.
hard every week.
Episode, yeah, I think it's 5.
Yeah.
5? Yeah, 5. 5 is really good. I like the most recent one too. So I don't know. It's been solid throughout.
The nice thing is ReZero is something I don't mind like binging a couple episodes through if I have to,
Yeah.
because it's generally really interesting episode to episode. So it's like rom-coms can be hard sometimes. If you get 3 or 4 episodes back on a rom-com, especially like a slower rom-com, it can be tough out there trying to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah.
But ReZero is not something I find super hard to binge. So it's not a question of when, in the sense of like I'm gonna get a group watch together. We're only gonna watch 1 or 2 episodes and get tired. It's more so just the next time we're together, we'll catch up on whatever's out. It doesn't help that we group watch on like Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it comes out on like Tuesdays,
It's Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Yeah, exactly. And usually we record podcast on like Thursday or Friday. So
Yeah.
I'm almost always an episode behind for the podcast, whether I had a group watch or not.
I'm gonna be very interested in episode 7 because there's a very iconic scene that's going to take place, but I'm wondering if it'll resonate the same in a viewing experience as it did in like a reading experience. Because
Mhm.
the way that the author writes, he's very good at uh building moments like while you're reading a chapter. And the way that he writes a certain scene in the next step that will be next episode, I believe, in the web novel. I don't know if it's changed in the light novel or not, but in the web novel at least, like the way that it kind of like escalates through the chapter, um, into what culminates as like a very iconic moment for a lot of readers that a lot of them have been hyping up for a while. That a lot of them are very excited to see next episode. I'm wondering if it'll hit the same for other people because it's like not a scene that you'd normally be like, oh yeah, this is like one of the goat scenes, but it's one that resonated with a lot of people in the reading community. So that's something I'm interested to see next week. Is
There's always kind of a fun thing too.
yeah, I'm like, will this resonate in the same way? Because like it's very iconic for readers, but like I don't know if it's gonna translate the same way. I think with effective direction, it can. Like there's definitely a way to telegraph it the same way it's written on in prose, um, versus on the screen. But we'll see. The director needs to cook in order to, I think, get this through in the effective way.
He's been cooking decently so far, so
Yeah, no, this has
You
been like
gotta cook.
it's been a very strong adaptation so far. It's not perfect, because it can never be, but like as far as
We've talked about this too. ReZero is such like a thick series. And I don't even mean that in terms of like physical pages, just so much information feels packed into it that it's like
yeah, I mean
the quote
also page
perfect
count.
adaptation. Yeah. The quote perfect adaptation probably still couldn't cover everything.
I
thick
think
with 20s.
in order to like perfectly adapt ReZero, you would need like literally a dedicated studio that like only does ReZero for their entire existence.
Yo,
And
we should create that.
yeah, I'm sure that'll work well. Three random
Listen,
anime podcasters creating an
we
animation studio.
we already have an end goal for the podcast.
Well, the our end goal for the podcast kind of got stolen already.
Well, we had an effect.
I'm gonna pretend like we had an effect.
I think, yeah.
I am happy that
Here's the thing:
it got
before the
picked up.
podcast, it didn't get picked up,
That's true.
and then since we've been doing the podcast,
Yeah,
it has gotten picked up.
And so there's no proof to say that we didn't have an effect on Gochumon getting serialized again in
Yep.
English, or licensed rather. I actually
In
have
fact,
volume 1 on my shelf now.
the only evidence we have is that it did get picked up after the podcast.
Yeah, if
So,
anything, it's in our favor to
yep.
say that we influenced the acquisition.
Statistically speaking, it is much more likely that we did influence it than we didn't,
I'm sure that's
or
how that
something like that.
works. Yeah.
Listen, you're talking to someone who's been in a plane crash. If I talk statistics, I beat
That's true.
them.
I'm sure that's how that works too. Yeah.
That's definitely something.
Yeah. Yeah. ReZero good.
Yeah.
I guess
These are good.
speaking of
Danmachi good.
rom-coms that you binge or like binging rom-coms, caught up to 365 Days to the Wedding. It's all right.
How was that binge?
It's like it's not bad by any means. But I don't feel like it. I feel like there's very little difference between this and like any other typical rom-com right now. Maybe it changes later on, but it feels very typical right
It's like
now.
hard with the first couple episodes of rom-coms too, though, because
I
even
mean,
I'm halfway through
using
the season at this point.
yeah, even like using like Blue Box as an example, because I know you guys talked about that and I didn't get to partake. The only thing that makes Blue Box even a little unique at this early stage is the inclusion of sports.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
And it's
did
not
say
even like
though.
that's a
Yeah.
super big part of it at this point. It's just like that is a factor that exists in the series that is one of the things that helps kind of differentiate it.
Yeah. I
It's
mentioned
like,
this last time, but I think I do like how the sports are incorporated into like the story in the show, but like I always feel I when I was watching it I just felt like I had seen the story before, like in another anime, you know what I mean? Like it's very like, I don't want to say standard, but it's like I don't know, nothing unexpected, I'll say. That's all. So
yeah. I
yeah.
feel like right now it's not really. I mean, there are some things it touches on that are like only like a more adult rom-com could.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't feel like so. The most recent episode, one of their co-workers is like going through marriage issues, um, and so I guess like this the manga is trying to give like different perspectives on the concept of marriage, while also like other people having marriage drama obviously makes like their fake marriage, like they start thinking about stuff like that. Um, but I don't feel like if the way it like kind of treated the episode, like part of it like felt very serious, and then the other like the tone shifts. I feel like a lot of anime struggle with tone shifts. Like very serious topics like, with like a lot of comedy thrown in there. Maybe not a lot, but like with it, there are just moments that like really took me out of like what was supposed to be more serious subject matter. Um, like you have this coworker who's getting really depressed. He's drunk. And then like they're trying to get it to talk to him, and he runs away, which is whatever, but then they find him. He's like, I'm in a tree acting like a fucking monkey or whatever. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like it just felt very cartoony, um
mhm.
for what could have been like a interesting like introspection type of episode. um yeah, for right now I just don't feel like it's doing a lot to make me really like buy into everything. And I'm sure like as it goes on in the manga, it probably gets a lot better and more interesting. But for right now, it's just like a 6, 7 out of 10 rom com.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I was kind of optimistic because it, like, again, like my biggest complaint was like Blue Box is just their high school years, but like with adult rom coms, it's a little bit like there's at least some hope that like things will progress. So where I don't know, it's just for me, it's easier to watch adults. But if it's just like a standard rom com, then I don't know. I'm like I'm less inclined to check it out, which is a shame. But I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say at this moment in time it's like
Uh,
anything that goes beyond what you'd see in like other typical rom
Mm,
coms. So
that's fair. Yeah. Um. Oh, what was that other show? The freaking elementary school. Are you still watching that? Are you still like over
yeah,
there?
I'm
And
you
I'm
said something about that recently, right?
I'm caught up on that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I did. I said something. It was about the OP. Like the OP is like it does not fit the tone of the
Gotcha.
series in like any
Yeah.
comparable. I don't know. Some episodes I guess it does, but like uh the end of one of the episodes uh and like led into the start of the other one, but like it was kind of dealing with kind of like verbal. I don't know. I don't know if I call it like straight up child abuse, but like close to it, if not the actual thing. But like you start with that, or you start with the OP, and then you like go into that, and it's like, okay, well, it's like all this complicated family drama and shit, and the OP just like does not fit that. The ending's really good, I think, but the OP is like really happy go lucky while these people are going through like a lot of different family issues, and it's I skipped the OP because of it. It's just something that like takes you out of it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I've said like a lot of I think I've said maybe last episode like just some of the directional choices in this anime are just like the OST. Like nothing, not to say like the music itself is bad, but like it doesn't fit. Um, like there'll be just like scenes that I just can't take it seriously just because like the music is like kind of loud, and then also it just really doesn't fit the mood. It has a lot of directional issues in my opinion.
Okay. That's I never really thought about like a OP not fitting a show, but yeah, I guess possible.
I mean, yeah, like
It's
like OPs, EDs, like Jujutsu Kaisen's first ED is like kind of like jazz oriented in a sense. I don't know. Like you'll see someone like get brutally murdered, and then you'll cut into like the like super happy go lucky ED, and it's like okay, cool. Like it's just very tone deaf. And I think there's just a lot of shows that like really would benefit from like doing like a silent scroll with the credits or something.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Does it fit the
uh,
mood?
I have mixed opinions on this because I see people talk about like, oh, this does or doesn't fit the show a lot, and most of the time I'm kind of of the opinion of it depends. Is it not fitting? Kind of to what you're saying too. It's like, is it not fitting the show, or is it just not fitting like how you feel at the end of an episode,
Yeah, because it is kind of
right?
hard, right? Because it's like every
Because
episode
like
can end with a different tone, right? So it's like you can't have a thing that like fits all of them, right? So I mean, yeah, I
yeah,
guess
because like in
that
the
makes sense.
example of like JJK ending one, the little jazz ending, and a lot of people love this. I it's like hard to say because does it fit the show? Maybe. I
Season
mean,
one
it
at least, I think it
certainly.
generally fits for the most part.
Yeah, exactly. But if I'm ending a serious episode, which is where it's kind of funny, and then it's like ends on a downer, and then all of a sudden jazz starts playing, right? That's the thing to me that's like I feel like a lot of people get stuck in like that second feeling and being like, oh, this doesn't fit the show because like I was sad, and then now all of a sudden I'm listening to jazz.
Yeah,
But to me, that's just different.
I think
Yeah.
Dungeon Meshi also kind of had this issue where like you'd have like a really serious like Dungeon Meshi is a comedy at heart, but it also deals with like very serious story topics. Um, and so like the first ending is like very whimsical, which is fine for like 10 episodes. And like the last couple episodes of that core are like extremely serious. And then you like cut into that ED, and it's like, okay, I don't know. I think sometimes you just shouldn't play the ED. I think you should silent scroll. Like if
I do agree with this.
the
Oh
episode
I
calls
yeah.
for it.
actually, as much as I love, like, I listen to almost every opening, almost every ending, generally of any show I watch. Um, but I do agree with this sometimes, and it's one of those things too where it's like some you could surely use those extra couple minutes, especially if it's after a serious episode, for something, right? Like you don't have to force it in there just because you need the runtime. Like there's definitely
Yeah.
something you could have added with 2 minutes of time, minute 30 of time to just say, you know, the ED is going to kind of mess up the vibe at the end of the episode. So let's just not have it. Flesh out an extra minute of something earlier and just like kind of better fit the vibe of the episode.
Yeah.
I was like thinking. I was trying to think of like shows that did that, like with the credits roll, silent credit roll at the end. I'm like, I cannot think of anything.
I don't feel like a
Um,
lot of them like silent
yeah,
roll,
it's
but
great. I'm sure.
like in ReZero, for example, there's like a lot of different episodes that might end on like an OST scroll. Like episode 15, for example, in ReZero ends on like the OST's playing and it cuts to the credits scrolling. It ain't cut. It just like it just has the image displayed over the credits. And then it does that at least once in season 2. I don't think twice, but at least once. It's just
Yeah.
and ReZero's not the great. Like ReZero barely ever fucking plays its theme songs. Like I mean to an effective degree, I think. Like if you can use the time, uh, then use the time. But yeah, I can't think of a lot of. I would have to like look through my list to like think of something that's silent scrolled. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I don't think I can think of anything off the top of my head.
I feel like I've seen it at least once. And I feel like when I saw it happen, it like made a ton of sense. But I'm also blanking. Um, 'Cause, like the first thing that came to mind would be a movie. So like
Yeah,
Mugen Train, for example, wasn't a silent scroll. But I could have seen Mugen Train being a silent scroll. Just in terms of like would it fit, right? But I feel like I have seen at least one silent scroll. Not recently, but like within the last few years.
yeah. I just cannot think. Wait, what do you think about shows when if they have the credits like playing through the ending? Like hold on, let me think about how to explain this. Hold on. Like the ending plays while the episode is still going on.
Yeah, it's kind of like
The
what I was
end.
talking
I
about with
love that.
ReZero. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
ReZero
yeah,
does that a lot.
ending.
Yeah.
I love ending
yeah,
songs starting while the episode's finishing
yeah,
because that's one of those methods of like we want to take the extra minute to like flesh out something, but we still want to have our ending song. We still want to like cue that it's ending, and so instead of having ending visuals, it's just start playing the song with whatever the emotional moment is at the end.
Yeah.
yeah. There's
Or
like
just like have the credits going, like no
yeah,
song type of thing.
yeah. It happened in an episode of like Steins Gate, and I'm trying to think of there's like another one that did that.
I mean, there's a lot of them that do it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it feels like it happens like
It's not
at
like
least once.
not like an
Yeah,
atypical thing. It just depends on
yeah.
like
No,
the
no, no. It's
series.
it's definitely more common than
Hmm.
like a silent credit roll. It's an interesting like tool to use to like play an ending through. But like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Actually,
like that.
I can't think of anything that's silent. I feel like I've
Yeah,
definitely
I don't know.
probably seen it somewhere, but just like not something I can remember.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it too. Um, I also remember like this is another like thing, but like I feel like I've seen shows where like let's say in a 25 episode show where like for 2 or 3 episodes they won't have the opening. You guys have seen that, right? Like they literally just skip the opening
Yeah,
theme.
I mean, it
Yeah.
depends on
I think
like
that's
they need the
interesting
time or
too.
whatever.
didn't
Yeah. Yeah,
ReZero
that
skip
does
an
count.
opening already?
ReZero, oh yeah, ReZero has done a couple
Yeah.
things, just like where they've skipped
Oh yeah,
opening
that's
or
true.
skipped
Yeah.
ending, like
Yeah, yeah.
I
this
know in
season
past
already.
seasons it has. I was gonna
Yeah,
say this season I feel like it skipped an opening too.
Yeah, it definitely has. It definitely has.
yeah, it
I-
skipped the opening, it skipped the ending. I don't. It hasn't had an episode where it skipped both. I don't think. But
Yeah, I guess it's a runtime issue, but it is interesting when like I don't know, it just doesn't have it. Like sometimes I just expect it to show up, and I'm like, where is it? Um, but sometimes I'm so engrossed in like whatever's going on the screen that I don't even think about it. Like ReZero, like you had to remind me that like the opening like for at least one of the most recent couple episodes like didn't play, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right, actually didn't.
Usually it's
Interesting.
like a sign of like, oh, it's about to be a fire episode when they like
That
skip the opening.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually true.
because
It's
it,
actually true.
like I said, it means that they're taking that minute, 2
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah,
and saying we need that for some shit later on.
yeah. Hell yeah, yeah. That's actually true.
But yeah, I give up on looking through for silent scrolls. So
Yeah, I mean, it's happened. It's happened. I've
I
seen
definitely
it.
feel like I've seen it even recently, but I can't.
yeah, it's like such a niche, like
Yeah,
specific thing that like you can't look it up for
I think
like.
if it happens, I'll usually just like go to the next episode or just end it. Like, but yeah, I'm sure it's
What,
happened.
you don't watch the credits every episode of or movie you watch?
I mean, if it's a
What if you
silent,
knew someone in the credits?
yeah, that's true. What if a guy showed up on episode 11 that I knew, my friend from like middle school or something? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like a special
Credits are
credit,
such
if it's
yeah,
like special credits, I'll watch them.
credits credits are such a funny concept to me as someone with like a film background because it is such an important thing to like be included in the credits of something, right? Like it's
Mhm.
but at the same time
Like
nobody
to have your name in there.
like zero yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that I say that also knowing and everyone knowing that like not a single person is going to look at those credits.
yeah. It
And
kind of reminds me.
especially no one's going to look at those credits unless they personally know you and then see
Yeah,
your name and like acknowledge or care in any way.
yeah,
Unless you have a funny name, you might get a couple ha-has out of it.
yeah. It kind of reminds me of like academia, where like even if you're like the 20th author, like it's really, really good to have your name on there just so you can get like a certain number of papers to like qualify for like tenure or whatever, or just like have more papers or just like it's more clout or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. It's like you just want your name on there. So that makes sense. Um, I think the only time I like really, really pay attention to credits is if I like recognize a character in a movie, like I recognize the actor or actress, but like
And
I'm
you want to
not
see who it
100%
is.
sure
Yeah.
who it is. Yeah, yeah. I was like, wait a minute, have I seen that guy? Like that guy looks really familiar. And it's like, oh yeah, that's him or her or whatever. Yeah, I think that's like the only time I really, really care about the credits, or like, I mean, sometimes I'll sit if I think there's going to be like a funny like ending or something after the credits. I don't know. Sometimes the after credits like scenes are like funny bloopers or like I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
even then you're not like paying attention to the
Yeah,
credits.
you're not paying attention to the actual credits, right? Yeah, yeah, that's true. It's true. Yeah, that's interesting. um, yeah, I didn't know it was that big of a deal in like the film industry just to have your name on the credits, but that makes sense. Makes
It's
sense.
like one of the like big acknowledgments of your work in
Right,
that
for
sense,
sure.
right? And also generally the so like IMDb's and stuff like that, they'll get most of their credited stuff directly from the credits of a movie, right?
Oh,
So like if I worked as an associate producer on a film and it wasn't credited on the actual movie, the likelihood is I would not also receive my IMDb credit because generally they're going to get that information from the movie's credits.
right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it's one
So
of
like,
those things too that's like
yeah,
it's important in the same sense as like by having yourself in those credits, that is the like official acknowledgement of everything
right.
you've done for the product. But the
Yeah.
credits themselves, I guess the way I would word it, being in the credits themselves is not necessarily the big deal. It's more of just like what that means, what that
Yeah.
represents, and how
Right.
that like information transfers.
Yeah. Are there? It sounds like really stupid, but like, are there any roles or like jobs roles that or like jobs that people do for a movie that like never get credited or rarely get credited. Like, is there anything that just like does not get credited that like
I mean,
even
maybe
though they
like
contribute?
an extra or something.
I
Like
mean,
if you
yeah,
have like a
besides extra,
large amount of
yeah.
extras, like
Yeah,
Even then, a lot of it depends on the size of the production generally,
yeah, that's true.
but like extras or things like single day things that you would show up for that, where it's you're not necessarily fulfilling a whole job as much as you're just doing something, right?
Mhm.
But anything that's like I am like working multiple days on set or like in an editing room or anything like that,
Yeah,
you should be credited for.
yeah, that's
And
fair.
it's not like there's like something specifically you could point out there and be like, "Oh yeah, the gaffer never gets credited" or anything like that.
No,
It's
no,
more about like, and especially for like middle size and like lower size productions, because let's be honest, the credits are fucking huge for like
yeah. I was gonna say like,
big movies. Like nobody's gonna care if they add an extra page or two of
yeah,
credits for like the people who show up for a single day, right? And it depends on what they're doing. Extras is probably the biggest example I can think of. But even then, I'm like, I think a lot of like the times extras will be credited.
I think it really depends. Like if you have like a scene where there's like 1,000 people in a crowd or something like that, and you get a bunch of
Those
extras,
will not be credited.
yeah, those are
Yeah.
not gonna get credited.
And the only way people generally get credits for that would be retroactively. So like if let's say if Spatula was an extra on some big movie coming out next year, nobody cares. Because who is he, right? He's just one of the extras. But then 5, 10 years later, he becomes like big movie star. Then people might be like, "Oh, did you know he was an extra on this?"
okay,
And that's the example of like when something like an extra potentially would receive like retroactive credit. You wouldn't be put into the actual um credits of the series,
sure.
obviously, but you would get like IMDb credit or something like
Okay,
that
okay, that
a
makes
lot of
sense. Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, extras are the only thing I can think of that I could like confidently say. Generally, an extra without like a speaking role or anything like that is probably not going to be credited. If you're someone who shows up for a day but have a speaking role, and so you're like kind of an extra, but you still have like a moment, you'll usually get credit.
Okay, okay, interesting. I was also thinking about like, for example, well, I guess it's different. No, don't worry about it. I was just thinking about like other types of videos and stuff like that. How sometimes people don't get credit, but I guess for films and it's different. Yeah, yeah.
Do they
Okay,
have
that makes
credits for
sense.
porn?
No,
I doubt it.
I was not gonna say that. I was thinking about like music
Well,
videos and
that's
stuff like
well,
that.
you said that, and my first thought was,
Yeah, well,
I
that's
was
fair.
like,
I was
I've
very
never
vague.
like, I've never like, because let's be honest,
Yeah,
people
man,
don't
I
like
might pour for the credits.
purchase. Well, I was gonna say people don't like purchase the like porn DVDs or anything like that,
Yeah, that's
right? I mean, people do probably,
I collect
but
them, bro.
you get what I'm saying? Like, if I were to purchase
Yes.
like an official like DVD or CD or
Oh
whatever,
my God.
um,
Blu-ray, yeah.
Blu-ray, yup, Blu-ray, would there be a credits at the end?
Don't know. I'm not. I'm not brave enough to find that. Okay,
I'm
you can look.
unsure.
You know, you can buy one and let us know.
Yeah, you can. You can be our guinea
No,
pig.
I will not be. I don't know what I would buy.
You can convince someone else to buy and ask them to, report back.
I could probably find this information if I search around for it, but
Yeah, honestly,
You
it's not
know,
that
just
important.
yeah,
It's
just
just
search porn and you'll find it
you've
immediately.
sent
I'm
me
sure.
you've sent me on a tangent that you didn't intend to send me on, but
I meant to talk about music videos, but I was vague and yeah. Well,
music
I guess.
videos would be about the same. Music videos are kind of like
Yeah.
another similar thing. So like YouTube music videos, for example, don't generally have like a credit scroll, right? But if you go
Mhm.
to the descriptions or something like that, you'll usually see like a big credits or um like CDs. Well, CDs won't have music videos, obviously. Stuff like that. The way that things outside of film get credited are all kind of like particular,
Yeah.
but it's the same in the sense of like if you had a meaningful role on the product, you're almost certainly getting credit somewhere.
Mhm. Right. Makes sense. That is interesting. The dynamics of like crediting and stuff like that, because this is a thing that like nobody thinks about, obviously. But I guess in the film industry, it makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, like
Um.
5 minutes to fill. Anyone got anything fun?
Let's see. Well, aside from that movie, I'm trying to think. What are some shows I have to? It's like,
I have a lot of shows I need to catch up on.
yeah, I want to say that I have
I
shows to catch
need
up on, but
to
yeah,
what I need to catch up on, so it's a talking point that we can have a real conversation about, is probably Blue Lock. And to be fair, I do enjoy Blue Lock,
I just
this
keep
guy,
seeing
but I've
clips. That's what it
heard,
this
is.
guy.
I've seen the clips,
Oh,
I've heard about how season 2 has been, and I I don't know what's not necessarily don't know what to expect, because I do know what to expect, but I'm like, man, this is gonna be an experience that I'm not sure that I'm like mentally ready for. And like I enjoy the series, but also it sounds like the production has entirely shit the bed for season 2. However, I do feel like I need to watch it so we can actually talk about production shitting the bed for season 2 and not just like, oh, I've seen a few clips and it looks rough. And to be fair, the clips I've seen do look rough.
yeah. If
But
some clips look rough, it's hard to imagine that the rest of it is going to be amazing, right? Like, I
It's
don't know.
it's
it's
very
hard to
uninspired.
say only because like media and like social medias and stuff are inherently flawed in the sense that like
Sure, I can pick out the
I
most.
will see the things that are like
Sure.
posted, right? So the things that are really bad get posted, or the things that are really good get posted generally for almost anything, right?
It's hard
And
to
that like
imagine like a few bad clips and the rest of it is amazing.
and the
Like,
rest of
I
it's
don't know. That
great,
just doesn't
right?
seem.
But at the same time, what's being shared in theory is most of the like worst stuff. Which
Yeah,
doesn't
but
necessarily
like
mean that the rest of it's good, but it
people are
does
still
mean
complaining about it as a whole in general, like
yeah,
even
yeah, yeah.
beyond the clips. So it's like, and it's funny seeing people like when it gets to this point in the season, it's gonna get better. I swear. And like, yeah, I don't think you
Yeah.
know how this works.
And that's I think that's true. And knowing Blue Lock and the production last year, or not last year, but
Yeah,
last season,
yeah. It's like the funny thing with
um,
Blue Lock is Blue Lock has like never had like great production by any capacity, and so like now that it's like taking a step down, it's just like it's entered the realm of like doo doo, and so
exactly. And that's why it's like I'm not saying in this particular example that I'm expecting to be like, oh, it's not actually that bad outside of the like clips. It's just like it'd be very easy for people to only post like good clips or bad clips of something and use that
Yeah.
as their only basis for whether something's good or bad.
Yeah.
yeah.
Obviously, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm just glad
I'm
I didn't
just
start second season because I already like don't take Blue Lock seriously, and then like now this is happening. It's just like it would have been a tragedy to have on my watch list.
my only thing with Blue Lock is to make sure I don't call Blue Box Blue Lock because I have to like
Thank you.
my mind is like so I don't know. It's just my mind's messed up right now. So I have to stop myself before after I say blue. So I don't say Blue Lock when I mean Blue Box.
If I had a nickel for every sports show that had the word blue in it that was better than Blue Lock, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which
Which
isn't a
isn't a
lot, but
lot.
But it's funny that it
it's
happens
weird
I
that
once.
feel like I feel like there's probably more though.
what
I
was
don't
it?
know.
Wait,
I'm thinking of
okay,
Awashi and
I
Blue
know, I know.
Box, so I don't know what else, what other blue
Which is
sports there would be.
also funny because I Awashi doesn't translate to like blue anything. It's just ow.
I mean,
But
it's a word for blue.
I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know what Ashi would mean. I mean,
It's his name.
yeah, blue Ashi.
It's Aoi Ashito. So it
Well, it's only
Like
is.
part of
blue.
his. Oh, okay. So we'll plug it in the translator. It translates to blue feet, which I guess kind of works.
I've never once heard. Anyway, so
So
I will now be calling Aoashi blue feet for
blue
the
feet.
looking
duration.
at things that are sports, so Blue Box, Grand Blue Dreaming, Alcana.
Alcana sucks ass. I'll give Blue Lock that. It's better than Alcana.
I Blue Feet's funny. Um, that is definitely not the name of it, but
I mean, I
that
see
is
no.
funny.
It like works, you know. I see no reason not to call it blue feet.
Sure. He doesn't have blue feet. I don't think he's ever worn a blue uniform in the
Well, they
show.
don't have. There's no blue box in Blue Box, so
Well, what is the blue box? What's like the metaphor here? Is it supposed to be like the badminton court?
I think it's probably something to do with youth.
They probably have said it in the series at some point, and I'm just blanking.
I feel like you would have like remembered. Okay, so I have a double
I
check. Awashi was written all as one thing, and there's no space, and so it has no translation.
yes,
But I choose
I
to
know
believe that there's a space
because
between
Awashi,
Ao and Ashi, and it's
because
blue feet.
Awashi is his name shortened as like a nickname. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I choose to believe blue
In blue
feet.
feet. Okay.
It can also be translated to blue reed, apparently, like REED.
What the?
I want to know. Now I'm on the tangent. Why is it called blue box? Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
it's
And we'll
just
find out on the next
Someone
episode.
said it's the
Is it?
gym. I don't know. I mean, maybe, but no.
yeah. This is
The
the gym is
gym
I
blue.
where
think it
they
has to
first met
do
is
with
blue.
youth,
Okay.
like the box of youth.
Color blue is associated with youth. Yes. Okay.
That's it. It's the gym is like a blue
The
box.
gym
It's
is the
literally like I don't
box.
know.
Okay.
Okay, I guess.
I'm seeing most of the comments are saying the blue part is talking about youth and the
Yeah,
box is
yeah.
the
It's like a
gym.
Japanese thing. Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's one comment that just mentions the one shot. It says in the one shot, Taiki runs in on Chinatsu chaining and she has a blue changing and she has a blue bra. I don't think that's the blue box to this one commenter, but sure. That's a
Alright,
theory.
so that's the end of this episode. We've clearly
What?
gone too far.
I'm just scrolling through comments.
I also
Conspiracy
want to go to
theories.
bed because I have work
Yeah,
and I'm
that's fair.
feeling bad.
Yeah.
So,
Understandable. Understandable.
anyway, if you enjoyed this episode of the Gochuucast, remember to like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars, all that good stuff. If you are on the YouTube side of thing, you'd like to go to the audio only, you can find us on any relevant podcasting platform. Gochuucast, we are the only ones. Same thing from audio only to YouTube. Go Is the Order an Anime podcast? Can't possibly miss us. Every Saturday, 3 p.m. EST, without fail, except for when we do, there will be a new episode out for you to enjoy. So once again, thank you for listening, and we will see you in another episode. Goodbye.